Today on Think Smart with TMFG, Mike and I are going to be discussing the magic bullet of investing. Mike, we love magic bullets.
They solve everything, don't they?
They do. You know, whether it's weight loss.
Yeah.
There's always a new diet coming out every year on how you can lose that last 10 pounds or 10 to 20 pounds. All you have to do is go 100% carbs, 100% protein, fast for a week, or just take this pill.
Yeah, Atkins, Scarsdale. There's been a million of them over the years.
Muscle building. There's all kinds of magic bullets for muscle building. You see this man or woman sitting there and their muscles, every time they move, their muscles flex.
Drink some powder, you'll be there.
And you can do that in 3 months or less. You can look like them in 3 months or less.
Yeah.
Finding a partner.
Swipe left or right, whatever it is. You get a partner.
I'm glad you don't know.
Yeah.
So finding a partner. Just go onto the app and there'll be hundreds of potential candidates for a partner.
Yeah.
And finally, if you're a golfer like myself, if you go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, there are more silver bullets for your golf game than there are golf balls in the world.
Yeah. And they're only going to drop your handicap by, 6 strokes?
That's what it claims to do. I think I applied a few magic bullets this year. I think it dropped by 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and I worked really hard at it. Yeah. So there's no magic bullet to golf. Mike, investing. We've been doing this a long time. There's got to be some magic bullets to invest in.
There is a bunch of things you can do. There's no one magic bullet, but there's some things that you can relate with. Remember, who was it? It was the guy who used to do those books, I think Stephen Covey or one of those people, that talked about the 10 habits or whatever.
7 habits
Seven
of
habits
highly successful people.
And they studied people that were successful, and they tried to find things that they had in common. So with successful retired clients or successful clients in general that are working, we have had some commonalities between them, haven't we?
So I was recently talking to a client, and their portfolio returns year to date were in the month of September. So we're, 3/4 of the way through the year. Their portfolios earned them 10% this year in 2024. But he couldn't resist telling me that a friend who he had just played golf with earned 30% in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Now that's a magic bullet.
Yeah.
So do you believe in magic bullets for investing?
No.
When you hear someone's earned 30% in 3 months, what's your immediate thought?
Number one, what was the risk involved? And how long can it last? And do they have a plan to get out?
How long before they lose 50% or 60% of their total portfolio? So what I did is I came up, went to chat, and said, what are the magic bullets to investing? And I wanted to see what chat came up with.
Yep.
And here's what they did. Number 1, start early and be consistent.
It's a good one.
Okay? So I've now got 3 20-year-olds in my family.
Yep.
And my job to them is to get them started. Now, they've been saving most of their entire life. They just didn't know it. I was doing the saving for them. Now they've taken that over. They're doing the saving for themselves. And I'm getting them to start early. It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Because your friends are out partying. You maybe want to buy a new car, you want to buy a new house, you want to buy new clothes, you got a new job. There's so many things coming your way, and you're not making much money.
Yep.
But if you can start early, just even take 10, 15% of what you're bringing in and start putting that away on a regular monthly basis, you're going to outperform 95% of your friends.
Yeah. I remember when I first took my first job, it was a company called Ken Brown Investments. And I was 22, 23 years old. And I remember my first salary, it was $20,000 a year. I think you hired me away for 26.
Okay. Oh, that's a big premium.
It was a
30%
big premium.
premium.
So I remember getting $20,000, and I remember coming up with my savings plan, but I still started that monthly savings plan from them at that point. I thought, okay, I got to start putting some money away. And even off of that salary, and it worked because I built up some money. I was able to buy a first house and move on from there. And it's just a matter of being early and consistent.
So we got 1 magic bullet, start early. 2nd magic bullet, diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's simple. It's what we're supposed to do with the rest of our life, diversify. Don't concentrate. Yes, you could do extremely well if you concentrated on 1 stock or 2 stocks. You could also lose everything that you've put away. All you need to do is diversify. The more diversified you are, the better you are.
Yeah, markets work, so why not take advantage of it?
Next is long-term perspective. What does that mean to you, Mike? Is it 12 months? Is it?
It's years. People get into problems that look at their accounts every day. They're always worried about what happened yesterday, what's going on, and who's going to win this election, what's going to happen in the U.S. election, and it really distracts you from what you're looking at in the future. We know 10, 20 years on how the market's going to do. When you're investing for your retirement, say, I mean, obviously you're going to buy houses and things along the way that may have a shorter term outlook, but if you're looking at your retirement or creating cash flows when you're in retirement, you got to look a long way into the future.
I remember when I got my car license and I went to Young Drivers of Canada to learn how to drive a car. And one of their things was focus on the big picture. Focus on everything around you. Look down the road. Don't just look in front of you. Look everywhere, all around you.
Yeah.
And it's the same with investing. Look for opportunities around you, but focus on the long term. I'm not going to buy an investment and hope to get out of it in 6 months. If I'm buying an investment, I hope to hold it for 5, 10 years, maybe even a lifetime. Next up, fees. When you came into the industry, did you think fees were important?
No.
Okay. We used an investment product, you and I, where clients were paying up to 4% a year.
Yep.
Now, most advisors didn't even know the total cost was 4% a year. The clients certainly didn't know. It was only when we did a deep dive after a few years why performance was so weak that we discovered the total cost was 4% a year.
People don't see fees when performance is very high. And because performance comes in 18%, 3%, 25%, negative 5%. It comes in areas like that. And what happens is you can't recognize the effect of a fee when you have that much volatility in the performance. But when you look at that performance number over a 10-year period, then the fee begins to have a big impact on your numbers.
So if my portfolio went up 30% in 3 months, which none of my clients' portfolios have ever done, you could charge a 4% fee on that.
Yeah, you wouldn't. What do you care?
You wouldn't be worried.
You're up 26%.
Okay? The only problem is when it's losing 30%, you're also going to be charging that 4% fee.
Yeah.
Next up, understand what you're invested in. Have you learned any lessons on that over the course of your career?
If you don't understand it, don't invest in it. We've been like this with crypto. I mean, everyone keeps on talking about crypto, and I've yet to get the person that has a fully understanding of, number one, how crypto works from the, let's say, technical side of things to how crypto works from the economic side of things. And that's why we've stayed away from it. Sure, some people are going to make money on it, but I'm not interested in things I don't fully understand.
Over the course of my career, I've seen lots of clients buy investments that have really thick documents attached to them. And whether they're called it's called a simplified prospectus. I hate to think of what the non-simplified version is, but if you don't understand what you're buying, you're going to make a big mistake. And so keep it simple.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with stocks, bonds, cash, and real estate. You don't need to go beyond that to have a great investment experience over the course of your lifetime. Emotions. Manage your emotions. This one's tricky. Everyone's a little different. You have people that are more emotional than others. That's a given. My wife is more emotional than I am. That's just how we are. I've got lots of friends that are extremely emotional, some that absolutely show no emotion. You very rarely show emotion.
Nope.
So someone who's emotional, how do they deal with a market downturn?
Yeah, well, and there's portfolios to match each one of them. So it doesn't mean there's no right portfolio. As we said, there's no magic bullet of this portfolio is perfect for all your clients, but you have a portfolio that fits their needs and it doesn't drive them over the edge, emotionally speaking. Because if you take someone who's very delicate and you put them in an all-equity portfolio, they're not going to make it through the next correction. It's not going to be good for them.
Call it the sleep at night factor. If you can't sleep at night because of your investment portfolio, you're in the wrong portfolio. You need to make a change. Because if you're not getting any sleep, you're going to make poor decisions just because of lack of sleep.
Yep.
So you need a portfolio where you can go to sleep at night. Next up is rebalancing. Rebalance your portfolio. What's the number one we rebalance clients' portfolios?
Well, we always talk about you should buy low and sell high. And this allows you to take advantage of that theory. Because when the markets go down, you're going to start to buy more equities. When the markets go up, you're going to take your profits off the table. And over a lifetime of investing, as we said, you got to have a long time horizon. Over your lifetime of investing, that's going to make a big difference in your overall returns.
Next up, number 8, focus on asset allocation. And that's back to diversification. diversify around the world, stocks, bonds, real estate, cash.
Well, they always say it was 92% of your investment returns are the product of asset allocation, not stock pick and not anything else. It's asset allocation.
And final one, keep learning. There's lots of financial information. If you keep reading it, you're able to decipher very quickly the good from the bad. It becomes really simple. I don't ever get myself into some article where I go, oh, this looks really good. Right away, my guard goes up, but I keep reading. I listen to podcasts, I read, I stay on top of things. It makes staying invested so much easier. So Mike, we've reviewed the magic bullet. It's not just one bullet, but it's simple things that we talk about consistently. That's the magic bullet to investing. It's not buying NVIDIA. It's not buying Bitcoin. That's not what it is. That's likely to lead to financial disaster.
And the last piece is always keep an emergency fund, just in case, right? Have some backup, either have an emergency fund or have some type of credit available to you, just in case you run into those hard times, and so you can get through them without having to dive into your portfolio.
Expenses in life are lumpy. You never know what's going to hit you next month.
Yeah.
So make sure you've got the ability to handle the lumpy expenses, whether, as you said, an emergency fund or access to a line of credit.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of another week. This is Rob and Mike with Think Smart with TMFG from the McClelland Financial Group of Asante Capital Management.